Well, good evening, Kennedy Space Center. Thank you all for joining us for this historic event, and I think an emotional event for a lot of us out here today. I am so happy that so many joining us today with our workforce, our loved ones are joining us out here today, as many of you also have made so many sacrifices over the years to get to this milestone. This year, Kennedy Space Center celebrates 60 years supporting America's space program. And as we take some time to reflect on the 6 decades of science and exploration, it really seems fitting that we look ahead, celebrate this milestone, our first step to returning to the moon. You know, every single vehicle that has carried humans beyond the bounds of low Earth orbit has undergone integration and testing in that vehicle assembly building, crawled down this roadway and launched right here from the Kennedy Space Center. Tonight, after years of meticulous planning, development, integration, testing, the Space Launch System mated with the Orion spacecraft will continue this proud tradition, leaving the VAB, as you see in front of you, to make its way to the pad for the very first time. And just as all eyes are on the SLS tonight as it makes its journey, in a few short weeks, all eyes are going to be on the sky as it rocks the space coast and takes its maiden flight around the moon and then comes back. You know, 60 years ago, Kennedy Space Center was established to meet the challenge of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to Earth. Through Artemis, we will see the first woman and the first person of color on the lunar surface. We'll develop and implement the science necessary for a long-term human presence in deep space, and we will utilize this knowledge to prepare for future human missions to Mars. Today, we honor that legacy for those who paved the way before us, and as we blaze a new trail and contribute to a new chapter in our history of our nation and of this agency. It's now my pleasure to introduce you tonight to someone who has served in public office for over 4 decades, first in the state legislature, then as a U.S. congressman, then as a state treasurer. He was elected 3 times to the United States Senate and represents my home state of Florida for 18 years. And in 1986, he flew on the 24th flight of the space shuttle, where he served as a payload specialist on STS-61 aboard Space Shuttle Columbia. His passion and his commitment to the agency and its mission are helping NASA to continue to advance the frontiers of knowledge and exploration. So please help me and join in welcoming our NASA Administrator, Senator Bill Nelson.
Ladies and gentlemen, the world's most powerful rocket ever, right here. And it's back to the moon and then on to Mars. Let's hear it for the musicians at the University of Central Florida. I want to give a shout out to the more than 24 members of the crawler transporter team. They are transporting SLS out to the launch pad, and the team is led by Bob Myers, who is at the wheel of the crawler. Across the nation are sacred sites that capture the spirit of America's character, and one of those places is right here, the Kennedy Space Center. At these launch pads, remarkable individuals achieve unthinkable things. And 60 years ago, an American pioneer propelled upwards to the heavens from Launch Complex 14. And that legendary explorer is John Glenn. That spacecraft, Friendship 7, orbited the Earth 3 times. And that was the day that America's space program went full throttle. It gave way to the Apollo generation. That generation not only landed the first humans on the moon, it provided the spark that fuels today's multi-billion-dollar satellite industry. It encouraged young visionaries and kicked off a technology revolution. The modern computing era is one example. And we are very privileged to have one of those Apollo astronauts with us, General Tom Stafford, Apollo 10. Today, a new generation, not the Apollo generation, but it's the Artemis generation, is preparing to reach new frontiers. This generation will return astronauts to the moon, and this time we will land the first woman and the first person of color on the surface to conduct groundbreaking science. NASA's Artemis program will pave the way for humanity's giant leap, future missions to Mars. There's no doubt that we are in a golden era of human space exploration, discovery, and ingenuity in space. And it all begins with Artemis 1. The Space Launch System is the only rocket capable of sending humans into deep space. It's the most powerful rocket in the world. And during liftoff, it will produce 8.8 million pounds of thrust, propelling the Orion spacecraft about 240,000 miles to the moon. And Orion will venture farther than any spacecraft built for humans that has ever flown humans. It will stay in space longer than any spacecraft designed for astronauts that has ever done without docking to a space station. And after a 3-week journey of over 1 million miles, Orion will come home faster and hotter than any vehicle has before. And it wouldn't be possible without all of you here today. We are joined by thousands of members of the NASA family. It's because of you that we are here today. Our workforce has been a relentless spirit. We imagine, we build, we never stop pushing the envelope of what is possible. I often say that at NASA, the impossible is made possible. Artemis 1 will demonstrate NASA's commitment to and capacity to extend humanity's presence on the moon and beyond. But this mission is not just cementing NASA's leadership in space, it's strengthening America's small businesses. It's supporting America's universities. It's showing the might of America's scientists, mathematicians, and technicians. Artemis 1 is possible because of the contributions from all 50 states. The program is an economic engine for America. In 2019 alone, it generated $14 billion and supported 70,000 good-paying jobs across the country. But to lead in the 21st century, America must not go alone. We must accomplish our goals together. Artemis represents global ambitions and participation from 5 international partners. The European Space Agency provides the European Service Module, the powerhouse of the Orion spacecraft that provides electricity, propulsion, thermal control, air, water to Orion in space. This is a critical partnership that not just for Artemis 1, but for the future Artemis missions as well. And that's just the beginning. Thanks to the international collaboration, 3 so-called passengers will fly on Orion. Zohar and Helga, named by the Israel Space Agency and the German Aerospace Center, are 2 female mannequins. Their jobs are to provide data on radiation levels during the mission. The 3rd passenger is a male mannequin whose name was decided by more than 300,000 people in a naming contest. And his name is Commander Munikin Campos, honoring Arturo Campos, the late member of the NASA family. Arturo helped bring the crew of Apollo 13 safely back to Earth. And a surprise, Snoopy in his orange spacesuit will hitch a ride. We're also taking advantage of additional space on SLS to launch several CubeSats in cooperation with the Japan's Aerospace Exploration Agency and the Italian Space Agency. Humanity's drive to explore the cosmos is not bound by border. Discovery strengthens diplomacy. This mission, this program, will build a global alliance that explores deep space for the benefit of all. And of course, Artemis 1 will be a major step, but our journey is far from over. This will be the first in a series of increasingly complex missions. In 2024, for the first time since Apollo 8, astronauts will return to the moon on Artemis 2. The astronauts will fly in lunar orbit, venturing farther into space than any humans have ever before. And these are not a series of isolated missions. Each will be a groundbreaking complement and component to build the presence on and around the moon and eventually beyond. And none of this is easy. Nothing NASA dares to achieve ever is. But as we have shown with this pandemic, NASA knows how to press forward. Artemis personifies why NASA needs continuity of purpose. Our missions have not achieved and were not achieved just by a single administration, but across many administrations. And I'm proud President Biden has shown strong support for these missions. And every breakthrough should be seen as a triumph for our country and all of humanity. And when the next humans walk on the moon, I hope that every single child around the world, I hope they see themselves in this new generation of explorers. NASA's history has become intertwined with the never-ending American story. The sky has never been the limit for NASA. This is our opportunity to make limitless potential of every American. It's past time to bring down the barriers that limit opportunity in underserved and underrepresented communities. It's time to anchor fairness as a core in every component in every NASA mission. Artemis missions should show every child that they can dream it. If they can dream it, they can be it. And perhaps they will one day join the NASA family as a technician or a mathematician. Maybe they'll walk on the moon or be the pioneers who venture onward to Mars. This is what NASA does best. We unify, we discover, we inspire. And from this sacred and historical place, humanity will soon embark on a new era of exploration. Aboard this spacecraft will be a flash drive. It will hold the names of over 1 million individuals from around the world. That flash drive will contain more than names. It will represent our stories, who we are, the child who imagines themselves soaring in the skies, the student who burns the midnight oil at the library so they can build a rocket and a spacecraft like this one, the NASA employee who gazes up at the moon every night, knowing that their work will soon return humankind to the lunar surface. And when this monster rocket lifts off, it will carry all of our greatest hopes in the heavens. Every single person who dreams of discoveries will see many more in our lifetime. I want to thank all of you, all of these workers, the whole space team, the family of NASA, and may God bless you and the Artemis to the moon and then to Mars. God bless you.
if you're just joining us, welcome to Kennedy Space Center in Florida, where everyone is celebrating. Take a look at them in that crowd. They are celebrating what you see there on your screen. We just unveiled our brand new moon rocket, which you see right there, poised outside of the Vehicle Assembly Building for the first time ever. Woohoo, right? I'm very, very excited about it. NASA's Space Launch System, or SLS, is the most powerful rocket in the world, and sitting on top is the new Orion capsule that will fly us back to the moon. The last time a moon